Welcome to the Stoic Golden Tribe, where enduring wisdom meets the strength of presence, and where we uncover the truths modern society refuses to teach men. In love and relationships, words are powerful, but sometimes what's hidden between the lines is even more revealing. An unfaithful woman doesn't always confess with her lips, but her patterns, her excuses, and her subtle slips of the tongue speak louder than she realizes. If you know how to listen, not just hear, you'll discover truths she never intended to share. Today we'll explore the silent language of betrayal, the unconscious phrases that give away a woman's disloyalty, and how ancient wisdom can help a man remain calm, observant, and in control of his own destiny. By the end of this journey, you'll understand the art of listening like a Stoic, the power of detachment like a king, and the ability to walk away like a man who values his peace above all else. Before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Have you ever noticed that someone's words revealed the truth long before their actions did? Share your thoughts in the comments, and let's see how many men have learned to spot the unspoken signs. Chapter 1. The subtle slips of the tongue. When a woman is unfaithful, whether emotionally or physically, her words begin to shift in ways she's often unaware of. She may not come out and say, "I'm seeing someone else," but her language starts to betray her loyalty. This isn't magic. This is human psychology, and it's as old as human relationships themselves. Ancient philosophers like Epictetus taught that nature has given us 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we may listen twice as much as we speak. A man who listens, not just with his ears but with his awareness, will notice when certain phrases start creeping into her vocabulary. You'll hear things like, "You're too controlling," even if you've never set new boundaries. "You're overthinking things," when you bring up small inconsistencies. "You deserve better," a strangely self-deprecating remark that sometimes hides a guilty conscience. These are verbal shields. They're meant to divert, to confuse, or to preempt suspicion. Most of the time, she doesn't plan them out. They slip out naturally because her inner world is shifting. She's emotionally distancing herself, and her words are creating the gap before her actions do. Men often ignore these signs because they don't want to believe them. They'd rather give the benefit of the doubt than face the uncomfortable truth. But here's the reality. The sooner you see the pattern, the sooner you can protect your peace. A king doesn't chase whispers. He listens, confirms, and acts decisively. You don't have to accuse or argue, just watch, observe, keep your emotions in check. If the signs stack up, you'll know what to do. Ancient wisdom tells us, the man who controls his reactions controls his future. Don't be the man who hears the warning bells and pretends they're not ringing. Drop your thoughts below. Have you ever caught someone revealing the truth without even realizing it? Chapter 2. Why her words give her away. Every human being carries a truth they can't completely hide. No matter how skilled someone thinks they are at lying or concealing their actions, the subconscious mind will always find ways to speak. Words become little cracks in the wall, letting light, or in this case, truth, slip through. In relationships, this is even more noticeable. Emotional intimacy leaves fingerprints on our speech. We can fake a smile, we can control our body language for a while, but the way we speak is directly tied to what we feel. An unfaithful woman doesn't just decide to change how she talks to you. Her inner world changes and her words follow suit. This is why you might notice sudden overreactions to simple questions. You might ask something as harmless as, "How was your day?" And instead of a calm, warm answer, you're met with irritation, defensiveness, or a dismissive, "Why are you asking?" This is not about the question itself, it's about the emotional weight behind it. Psychologists call this emotional leakage, when hidden feelings escape through tone, choice of words, or the timing of responses. And here's what's fascinating. Ancient wisdom already understood this long before modern psychology gave it a name. Sun Tzu wrote, "When strong, appear weak. When weak, appear strong." In relationships, an unfaithful woman often flips between these states, trying to appear confident and unbothered while internally battling guilt or anxiety. But the act can't last forever. Pay attention to the subtle shifts. She starts over-explaining small details you never asked for. She answers a simple question with another question to deflect. She suddenly uses more I and me instead of we and us. These are signs of emotional distance forming. Her speech is no longer rooted in shared connection, but in self-protection. A loyal woman speaks from a place of peace. Her tone is open, her words flow naturally, and she doesn't need to shield herself. But when betrayal enters her heart, her words become calculated, as if she's rehearsing them in her mind before letting them out. And here's where many men fall into danger. They feel the change, but they ignore it. Why? Because facing the truth means facing pain. And pride often convinces a man to believe a comfortable lie over an uncomfortable truth. The Stoics had a simple rule: see things as they are, not as you wish them to be. This isn't about paranoia, it's about awareness. It's about having the courage to listen with both your ears and your instincts, and the strength to act when the truth becomes clear. Your role as a man is not to become a detective, chasing every shadow, but to stand still like a watchtower, quietly observing, knowing that if the truth is there, her own words will eventually reveal it. Share your thoughts below. Have you ever noticed a shift in someone's tone or language before you learned the truth about them? Chapter 3. The phrases that reveal the truth. When loyalty fades, it doesn't always vanish overnight. It unravels slowly, thread by thread. And one of the first threads to loosen is speech. A woman who is beginning to drift away emotionally, or who has already crossed the line of fidelity, will often say things without realizing the weight behind them. These changes in language aren't usually shouted in anger. They're whispered in casual moments, hidden behind smiles, or delivered as offhand comments. But to a man who understands human nature, they're alarm bells. Let's walk through some of the most common phrases unfaithful women say, and more importantly, the hidden meanings that live beneath the surface. 1. You're overthinking things. At first, this sounds like a comforting dismissal, almost as if she's trying to calm you down. But think carefully. If she says this when you point out inconsistencies or ask reasonable questions, it's not reassurance, it's redirection. A loyal partner will gladly clarify your concerns because they want you to feel secure. But someone hiding something wants to stop the conversation before it begins. Hidden meaning. I don't want you to keep pulling at this thread, because if you do, you'll find the truth I'm hiding. 2. You're too controlling. There's a difference between being protective and being controlling, and the difference is clear in healthy relationships. But when you suddenly get accused of controlling behavior without changing your actions, it can be a form of projection. A guilty conscience needs a villain. If she can cast you as controlling, then in her own mind, she's justified in breaking the rules of the relationship. Hidden meaning. If I paint you as the problem, I won't have to face my own wrongdoing. 3. I just need space. Sometimes people truly do need space for self-growth, but context matters. If this request appears suddenly after months or years of closeness, it's often emotional distancing in disguise. When a woman has already given parts of herself to someone else, whether emotionally or physically, she will start carving out time and distance away from you. She might frame it as finding herself, but in reality, she's building a life that no longer includes you at the center. Hidden meaning. I'm already leaning toward another path, but I'm not ready to say it out loud. 4. You deserve better. On the surface, this sounds like humility. It sounds like she's thinking of your best interests. But too often, it's an unconscious confession. When guilt weighs heavy, this phrase becomes a way to ease her conscience. She frames her betrayal as her unworthiness rather than directly admitting what she's done. Hidden meaning. I've already broken the trust, and I'm trying to prepare you for the moment you discover it. 5. You've changed. Change is part of life, But when this phrase is thrown around vaguely, without specifics, it's a smokescreen. Instead of explaining what's bothering her or what she truly feels, she shifts the focus onto you, hoping you'll doubt yourself rather than noticing her own shift in behavior. Hidden meaning. It's easier to blame you than admit my feelings have moved elsewhere. 6. I'm just tired, or I've been stressed. This one is tricky because stress and tiredness are real. But if these phrases become a constant shield, especially when you want intimacy or deep conversation, they can be a cover for emotional withdrawal. The more time and energy she invests in someone else, the less she will have for you. Hidden meaning. I no longer want to give you the same emotional or physical energy, but I don't want to tell you why. 7. I don't want to talk about this right now. Sometimes it's fair to pause a heated conversation. But if she repeatedly uses this to dodge important discussions, especially about the relationship, it's avoidance. And avoidance is often a tool for people who don't want their lies to be exposed under scrutiny. Hidden meaning. The truth will come out if we keep talking, so I'd rather end it here. Why these phrases matter more than you think. The danger isn't in hearing any one of these phrases, it's in hearing them in combination, paired with changes in her tone, her body language, and her availability. When these phrases repeat, they reveal a pattern. The slow dismantling of honesty and intimacy. Ancient wisdom teaches us that the tongue speaks what the heart is full of. If her heart is pulling away, her words will eventually follow. And if her heart has already crossed into another man's hands, her tongue will betray that long before her actions make it obvious. The wise man doesn't jump to accusations, he observes. He collects evidence, not just physical proof, but behavioral proof. He keeps his emotions steady because a calm man can see more clearly than an angry one. The untrained man reacts, the trained man responds. And the man who is truly in control will never allow himself to be blindsided because he listens not just to words, but to what those words really mean. Drop a comment. Have you ever looked back on a relationship and realized her words had been telling you the truth the whole time? Chapter 4. How a man responds with strength and dignity. When you begin to recognize the signs, the temptation is to react, angrily, impulsively, emotionally. That's the trap most men fall into, and it's exactly what robs them of their power. A man who reacts without thinking becomes predictable. He shows his hand. He lets his emotions lead, and in doing so, he gives control to the very person who's been betraying him. But a man who responds with patience and clarity, that man is dangerous not because he seeks revenge, but because he refuses to be broken. Ancient Stoic philosophy teaches us that our peace of mind is our most valuable possession. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." So when you notice the shift in her language, the evasive answers, the subtle deflections, the changes in tone, your mission is not to confront right away. Your mission is to observe without exposing your awareness. Here's why. If you act too soon, she will simply hide better. But if you stay silent, watching her patterns unfold, the truth will eventually reveal itself without you having to ask. The guilty always trip over their own lies. When the moment comes, and it will, do not shout, do not beg, and do not try to convince her to stay. That is beneath a man who values himself. You do not argue for your worth. You demonstrate it by walking away with your dignity intact. Walking away is not weakness. It is the ultimate act of self-respect. It's saying, I will not compete for loyalty. If you cannot give it freely, I will not try to buy it. Men, remember this. Women, respect men who are willing to lose them rather than lose themselves. If she has betrayed you, she has already made her choice. Your only job is to make yours. Choose peace over chaos. Choose dignity over drama. Choose the road where your self-worth stays intact, even if your heart feels shattered. Because while love can be rebuilt, self-respect, once destroyed, is far harder to recover. And when you leave, you don't need to explain. You don't need to make her see what she's done. Life will teach her that lesson far better than you ever could. Leave a comment. What's the most powerful way a man can respond when he discovers disloyalty?